Hi there, grief growers. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm taking a break from full-length podcasting right now and gearing up for Season 3 of Coming Back, which premieres on May 2nd, 2018. But in the meantime, I wanted to bring you some never-before-heard clips from Season 2's interviews. These are little pieces from my conversations with guests on the show that didn't make the final cut, but contain some wisdom, comfort, or laughter that I still wanted to share with you. This week, I'm sharing a bit of my interview with Kerry Egan, a hospice chaplain and author of one of my all-time favorite books on grief called On Living. A big part of our full-length conversation was about the importance of believing people's stories. So many people didn't believe Kerry's story of postpartum psychosis after the birth of her first child, and that drove her to really lean into believing her patients' stories when she visits them through hospice. This is a little clip of Kerry talking about how important it is to believe people when they say their love and their bond with a loved one continues after death.
I don't think it's gone. My understanding as a person of faith, right, is that love doesn't die, that love changes, and that the relationship with the person you love changes. The relationship doesn't end, the relationship changes. But the physical relationship, for the most part, ends. And every now and then people will say, I felt my wife, I felt my child. They came and they visited me in my dreams. And I actually believe those things are true. I think that those things absolutely have a true reality. Can't explain them. I don't know what they are, but I've heard enough of it to know I think there's something there. But for the most part, the physical relationship with the person you love. But I don't think the emotional relationship ends. I don't think the love relationship ends. I think it changes.
I hope you enjoyed this In the Meantime episode of Coming Back. Stay tuned for more of these interview tidbits in the weeks between now and the Season 3 launch in May. If you'd like to listen to my full conversation with Kerry Egan, go back and listen to episode 36 of Coming Back, called On Living and Fumbling with Kerry Egan. If Coming Back has changed how you see grief, loss, or death, I would love if you'd consider supporting me and the work that I do on Patreon. Now is a great time to support the show because between now and April 30th, for the time that I'm on break, I am hosting a giveaway. Anyone who is already a patron on Patreon or pledges to become one before the last day of April is automatically entered to win 2 copies of the book I talk about all the time on the show, the Grief Recovery Handbook. This is the book that changed my life. In addition to 2 copies of the Grief Recovery Handbook, I will also send along a set of Coming Back podcast stickers and a handwritten thank you note expressing my gratitude and love for your support of the show. You can find a link to my Patreon page where you can pledge and enter to win for as little as $1 a month in the show notes. If you'd like to take a look at the books and the stickers, you can also go check out my Instagram page where I've got a little video called Giveaway that's featured on the main part of my profile. In the show notes this week, you can also find some other wonderful ways you can stay in touch with me between now and May. First, you can find me in person for free next week on a 7th floor rooftop in Seattle on Monday, April 23rd from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. We will hang out and talk about our lives and grief and the podcast and how you got to find it, and I am so excited to meet you there. This is my first time visiting Seattle, so I am absolutely stoked to spend a little bit of my time there with you. And secondly, you can join me for my monthly Google Hangout on Sunday, April 29th at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time. This is my hour-long private space to answer your questions on grief and loss, and to provide a little exclusive time for the biggest supporters of the show. And again, you can find that information in the show notes for both of these events, or you can visit my Facebook page, Shelby Forsythia Intuitive Grief Guide, and click events. You can also check out episode 40 of Coming Back if you'd like to know more about the details of the Patreon giveaway and all of the glorious places I will be between now and Season 3. That's all I've got for you for this episode of Coming Back in the Meantime. I cannot wait to return to the mic and to you full-time in May. While I'm away from the mic, you can find updates on me, this podcast, and my travels on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and some extra behind-the-scenes stuff on Patreon. If you'd like to leave a question, comment, or guest suggestion for a future episode, leave a voicemail or text 312-725-3043 or email me at shelby@shelbyforsythia.com, subject line podcast. As always, my dear grief growers, it was beautiful sharing this space and time with you. I see you. I am proud of you and the work that you're doing in the world. And I love you. Because even through grief, we are growing.